Hello, my name's Pastor Ron Sinclair, and today I'm bringing you M.W.'s story from this book, Real Life Stories, Inmate to Inmate Edition. M.W.'s story is found in chapter 9. It's entitled, My Desire for All Those Poisons is Gone. He tells us, in 1971, tragedy befell their family. His oldest sister died in a car accident. Kathy and M.W. spent a lot of time together. She took care of M.W. when their mom was working. So this created a special bond between them. He was 6 years old when she was taken from them. God, in his infinite wisdom, sent to M.W.'s bedside an angel in the form of his sister. The angel spoke reassuring words, telling him that everything was going to be all right. God not only brought M.W. comfort, but through M.W. telling his story, he also gave comfort to his mom. This was the beginning of a series of incidents during which God was present. But M.W.'s understanding was minimal. Several other incidents happened in rapid succession after Kathy's death. M.W. nearly choked to death on cinnamon disc candies. His mom was nearby and saved him. He had his ear torn off by a feral cat, and a skilled surgeon reattached it. He fell 30 feet from a tree, landing near an old car chassis, walking away without a scratch. The most prominent incident during this time was that he nearly drowned. The whole family went to visit his aunts, his cousins. All of the kids decided to go to the swimming hole. M.W. was somewhere around 7 years old. He was fearless, of course. He waded out to the roped-off area, not realizing that it was well over his head. He became tired, couldn't swim anymore, yelling out just before he went under. As he floated to the bottom, he remembers being totally at peace. He woke to see everyone standing over him, all the while hacking up a gallon of water. His life became peaceful and calm for many years after this series of events. He continued to do normal kid stuff, being involved with his youth group at church, riding dirt bikes, and even racing hydroplane boats. His childhood was extremely blessed, and looking back, he can see how much so. His dad had always instilled work ethics into the kids. He would tell them, we need to work in order to pay for all of our expensive play toys like motorcycles, cars, racing equipment. M.W. started by sweeping the shop floor at the ripe old age of 10. He was operating screw machines at age 12, making minimum wage at $2.35 an hour. The reason he mentions this is because his love of money and the need for more grew from this point on. In his teenage years, M.W. went to school full-time. And he also worked. During summer breaks, he would work 2 full-time jobs, putting money away. His senior year, he barely squeaked by and graduated. It wasn't because he couldn't do the work, but because he had lost interest working 2 jobs, bringing in $800 a week along with cars and women. What more could an 18-year-old ask for back in 1984? This time period in his life directly relates to his use of recreational drugs. It was the mid-'80s. 2 of his friends from school, and he opened a video arcade. Initially this was fun and exciting, but it very quickly started to tax his personal relationships. Also, cocaine, marijuana embellished the drugs that he had taken a liking to. He used marijuana to relax, LSD to laugh, and cocaine to keep him going. The drugs became more frequent and were no longer recreational. He was relying on them to get him through the day. This became an expensive habit and a vicious cycle, working 2 jobs just to pay for his drug use. Eventually, sometime in the late 80s, he found methamphetamine. Methamphetamine usually takes over one's life without the person even realizing it. Chasing the meth high over a couple of decades made him paranoid, angry, and poor. He became a liar, a cheat, and a thief. He lost 3 homes, a couple of businesses, and respect from a lot of people. Never does anyone ever grow up and say, I want to become a meth addict. It just happens. The addiction grew. It grew him into situations where he could have very easily been put in a life or death situation. All the while, God had his hand on him. Eventually, he ended up doing some time for possession charge. Prison time was actually good for him in many ways. It gave him time to get clean and to reflect on his life. He could definitely see from this perspective how his life was out of control. When he was released, he decided he was going to turn his life around. The problem was, he thought he could do it alone. He did well for a couple of years, but then it happened. He slipped up one time and sank lower than ever. He was ingesting 1/4 ounce a day and learning to manufacture this powdered poison. He finally decided he needed help. Laying on his bed after being awake for nearly 2 weeks, he called out to God to take his addictions from him. He asked God to please save him from himself and the poisons that he continued to ingest. A week later, he was arrested. In God's infinite wisdom, he not only saved M.W. from self-destruction, but removed the desire for meth and cigarettes. His incarceration hasn't stopped the opportunities to get high. As a matter of fact, there have been ample opportunities to even try new to him, drugs like heroin. Because of his deliverance from addiction, his desire for all of those poisons are gone. He must mention the 2 most important events in his life. After their twin sons were stillborn and being told that they couldn't have children, God had the final say. July 20th, 2001, their first daughter, Hope, was born. January 10th, 2003, Faith was born. Never before has he seen such a miracle or felt so close to God and his creation. Words cannot describe the joy and wonder. The accumulation of our life experiences make us who we are. It forms our personalities and our spirituality. This being said, would he change things if he could? The answer is no. Because changing those experiences may have made life easier at the time, but it may have also changed his ultimate relationship with God, who he is. The result of who he is makes it impossible for him to resist God's path. At this point, his relationship with God is better than ever. He hopes to continue his spiritual growth through the rest of his days. The rest of his days here on earth. This is M.W.'s story. If you'd like to learn more about the step-by-step ministries, you can call Jim at 219-787-9933. Or write Jim Barbarossa or Step-by-Step Ministries at 815 South Babcock Road, Porter, Indiana, 46304. Or check out their website at www.step-by-step.org. I hope that M.W.'s story has added some value to your life today. I hope that you'll come back and listen to more stories from this book or some of the other books published by Step Ministries. In the meantime, until we come together again, God bless you today and every day, in all ways. Amen. Amen.